Hey, happy Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are talking about hurricanes, heat, and storms across both coasts today. So we've got a lot going on in our forecast this afternoon. Let's go ahead and get to those headlines right now. The heat is picking up across the plains. Yes, temperatures are likely to be above average into June, July, and August. Your summer will most likely be a hot one. We've got a severe risk for southern Texas mainly, okay? So we go down into southern Texas for that large hail, that tornado risk, and that high wind risk. But we also have a chance for storms on the west coast and a chance for storms on the east coast. We'll talk about exactly where. And hey, hurricane season is officially here. June 1st started the official start. The official start day to hurricane season is June 1st, and it's officially here out in the Pacific. However, we haven't seen a ton of activity in the Atlantic quite yet. So we'll talk about those named storms and that next named storm that we are watching for this weekend. Let's get to the storms here on land first. So we've got a chance for storms anywhere from southern Texas all the way out to the east coast, all the way out to the west coast today. Tomorrow, very, very similar, where it's several different areas of storm chances. Very similar on Thursday as well. We don't have an overall setup here, but we have several different chances for storms as we head into the work week. Now, taking a look at the radar today, actually yesterday, we had a few storms across Tennessee, Kentucky, and the Gulf Coast. But really our big storm yesterday was out in Texas. Once again, that's where all of the hail has been out in Texas. We did get like a tornado warning out in New York. We got some really high wind in Pennsylvania. We also got some high wind along the East Coast as well. But let's go back to Texas and let's see those storms across Lubbock. Okay, we'll take a look at those storms across Lubbock here in just a minute. Did you guys know there was a tornado warning that was headed into Charleston this morning? Charleston, South Carolina. That is where we saw that tornado warning right around 9 a.m. But it was very short-lived. High winds went into Charleston right around 10 a.m. Central Time, so 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and they got some really high winds and maybe some small hail out there as well. Now again, let's go back to Texas and let's talk about that 3-star hailstorm that we got yesterday. We told you guys that this was going to be the area with most likely the largest hail, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday. Actually, I was watching the forecast yesterday, and I don't talk about this often, but we nailed the forecast yesterday. It was nice to see that. You know, oftentimes you never know what the weather is going to do, but it's nice to know that that forecast verifies sometimes. Alrighty, let's move on, because yes, we said this area is going to have the largest hailstones, and that's exactly what happened. Max hail size 2 inches. That's about the size of a hen egg, and about 28,000 homes impacted here. So we saw, yes, some large hail with a 3-star hail map out in West Texas. Moving on now to what we could see today. So we still have a front that's just kind of hugging the east and Gulf Coast here. This going all the way down into Texas, and really where we're going to see the largest hail today will be out in western Texas. Right now we've got a few showers and storms along the southern portion of Florida, a few showers and storms hugging the east coast, and then a few up in our New England states as well. The plains, we're pretty dry right now. That could change as we head into the very end of this work week. And temperatures, it's hot out there. 84 here in Oklahoma City, 78 in Dallas, 82 up in Boise, and 81 in Billings. So 70s and 80s are pretty popular across the country today. Nothing severe to talk about right now. However, that could change within the next few hours. And where are we watching for that severe weather at? Again, down in southern and western Texas for the most part. Where do you see those deeper yellows and oranges and reds? That's where those larger hailstones are going to be. Down in West Texas, right? Okay, so as you go up the East Coast, really small hail is expected in this area. As you go out to the west, maybe some larger hailstones in places like Montana. I really think, I know that Oregon has a chance for storms today. It's going to be more of a windstorm than it is going to be a hailstorm here. So taking a look at that significant hail model out in West Texas, you can see that area highlighted in yellow right there. Anywhere south of Lubbock, that's where we're going to see the largest hailstones for today. So before I move on, I actually want to check our comments section because I have not checked it quite yet. We've got questions about southeast Nebraska. You guys are in the clear today. No storms out in southeast Nebraska today. San Antonio. Okay, so you have a chance for storms down in San Antonio today. However, I left it at a very low chance. And you'll see that here in just a minute. Pretty low chance out in San Antonio. So put your questions, put your locations that you're watching from in the comments section, and we'll make sure that we are focusing on those areas of interest. Largest hailstone today, golf ball size hail. You can see that highlighted in orange. But again, we do have several areas across the country that we're watching for some decent hail today. I mean, quarters, half dollars, Great Falls, Montana, Medford, Oregon. That's where we could see a few storms today. You go out to New York, Albany, New York, in that low risk for some for some quarter size hail for today. Now go down to the south. I told you San Antonio is in the risk for storms today. However, I really think that by the time storms move into this area, we're going to see them fizzle out quite a bit. Houston, pretty similar. I kept all of the large hail out in West Texas and southeastern New Mexico. We could even see some storms out in Colombia, so we're talking about right along the Gulf Coast here. So we could see that as well. However, I think it's a pretty low chance. And some smaller hailstones as well. There's your wind chance for today, 65 to 75 mile per hour wind speeds for today. But we do have a tornado risk as well. That tornado risk down in places like Midland, Texas, Fort Stockton, Texas, highlighted there in green. It's a level 1 tornado risk on a scale of 5. So it's possible, it's going to be pretty isolated, not a widespread outbreak out in West Texas today. Moving on now to your timeline, let's take a look at the timeline for storms because storms are expected to fire up and become a lot more widespread as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Then we'll see storms slowly track to the east. Now this is whenever I see storms into places like San Antonio, which unfortunately is just a little off the map here. San Antonio, if you are interested in your forecast for today, let me know in the comments and I will send that to you. I apologize that that's a little off the map here. It just kind of skipped right past me today. Anyway, if we do get storms in San Antonio, it's going to be late tonight. We're talking about overnight tonight and into the early morning hours tomorrow. So by the time that storms get there, I think that they will be fizzled out quite a bit. Hey, your morning commute tomorrow morning, Dallas, you are in the path for some very heavy rainfall tomorrow morning in Dallas. Pretty low, severe risk with this. However, it could be a wet morning commute. Moving on now and really widening our view here. Again, we've got storms that are likely up the East Coast today. We've got a few storms out in places like Montana and Oregon as well. But the severe risk in these areas are pretty low. We call this a marginally severe risk day because those storms just barely go over the severe risk threshold. So we're talking about 60, 65, maybe 70 mile per hour wind speeds today, and small quarter-size hail or even smaller. That was like what we saw up in Michigan yesterday. Michigan yesterday, we got just tons of hail reports, but all of those hailstones were like penny-sized hail, dime-sized hail, nickel-sized hail. It was really small hail, but we got a ton of reports up there. Alrighty, moving on. I think we're actually going to zoom down into the Carolinas, and we're going to zoom down into the East Coast or the New England states. So as I look at your questions here, Jackson, Mississippi, perfect timing. Mississippi is on the map here. I'm not quite sure Jackson is on the map, but you'll have storms on and off today, especially down in the southern side of the state. You'll have storms on and off, mainly through the afternoon and evening hours. Moving up to the northeast here, what are our other questions today? Lots of people hopping on from San Antonio this afternoon. Thanks for hopping on out in San Antonio. We appreciate you. I'll send you that forecast because I know I left it off of the radar for today. That never happens. Usually I've got my eye on those big Texas towns because Texas and Colorado, those are the towns that will surprise you, or those are the states that will surprise you. All of a sudden you'll say, hey, there's not going to be a storm in Colorado, and all of a sudden a big hailer will pop up. That and then like West Texas will also surprise you. Alrighty, moving on here, but we'll get to that San Antonio forecast. I'll send that to you within the next hour. Alrighty, moving on to your flood risk here. Yes, we have a flood risk that's mainly down in Texas, San Antonio included in that one. Level 2 risk, so flash flooding is possible for today. That moves back up into central Texas and Oklahoma. I talked about that heavy rain down in Dallas tomorrow. Yes, you need to watch for flooding during your morning commute tomorrow and on Thursday. And then we've got another level 2 risk as we head into the end of the work week. So just a little reminder about your Storm Prediction Center outlooks here. So these are your storm risks. Today, Southern Texas, East Coast, Gulf Coast. Tomorrow, Southern Texas. Hey, Chicago, you slid right in there. Marginal risk out in Chicago. And Iowa for tomorrow. And then we've got some storms in the northern side of the Rockies. By Thursday, it's a plains system right through the middle of the plains and then down back into southern Texas. Man, Texas just gets hit over and over and over here. Now let's pivot and move on to that heat. Who is ready for those warm temperatures? I don't know if I am yet. I love the summertime heat, but to talk about above average temperatures in the summertime, it sounds very, very hot. And we're talking about early season heat here. So yes, we are above average up in the northern plains today. We're above average out to the west as well. So not only are people in Montana and Oregon dealing with those storms, but they're also dealing with that heat. We've seen a little bit of a cool down in places like Dallas, Texas, most of Texas actually, and a good portion of Oklahoma are enjoying that cool down as we head into the later portion of the work week. But overall, what we're going to see as we head into the middle of June is we're going to see an above average temperature here. What we're going to see, let me rephrase that. Let me try that one more time. What we're going to see as we head into the middle of June is we're going to see temperatures warmer than average. So you know your typical hot June day, go warmer than that. That's what you're seeing in Denver, in the Four Corners, even into Oklahoma, Texas, and off into the East Coast. Now, what about later into the month? We're talking about July, August, later into summertime here. What are we looking at for summer heat and all in all? It's hot. We have a really good chance to be above average for most of this summer, especially out to the west, down into Texas, western Oklahoma, western Kansas, and then up into our New England states. We have a really good chance for temperatures to stay above average. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hot this summer. Now, another thing that we look for in the summertime and in the fall are hurricanes. So let's get into your hurricane forecast here. We have 3 areas that we are watching for here. We've got a low pressure system, 1, 2, right there. Those are 2 named storms right now. We had another named storm about a week ago. I think that was late May. This named storm is actually about 2 weeks earlier than the average first named Pacific storm of the year. That's a very specific detail. But basically what that tells us is we kicked off our Pacific hurricane season a little early this year. We've got 2 more named storms out there right now. These are not hurricanes right now. These are both tropical storms at the moment. Cosme is one of those storm names, and I think Barbara is the other. There you go. We've got another area that we're watching for as well. This area, a little bit farther back to the east, we're talking about just south of southern Mexico here. This will probably be our next named storm, and I think that name was Delilah. We're in the D's now. This will most likely not be a named storm until this weekend. So not seeing that development over the next 48 hours. However, into the very end of this week and early this weekend is probably whenever we'll get that next named storm. So we've got lots of activity out in the Pacific. However, the Atlantic is quiet right now and will most likely stay quiet for at least the next week. Lots of activity out in the Pacific. Alrighty, before I move on here, do we have any more questions? Lots of questions about Lubbock, Texas. Yeah, I'll message you guys and get your forecast for Lubbock, Texas, because we've already passed the Texas forecast, but I'll message you guys and get you some information about Lubbock, Texas for today, and Allen, Texas for tomorrow. Yeah, you could get some storms up in Allen tomorrow. Alrighty, well, thanks for watching the forecast today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. We're back here every single weekday at noon, so we'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. In the meantime, make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We're posting all the time on these areas. We also post storm chasing videos, not just the forecast, but what actually happened at the ground. And if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. All right, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.